ABC News White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks and ABC News political director Rick Klein. Mary Alice, first let me go to you. You cover Biden. You have covered Biden a long time. Here is, as I said, a vigorous and aggressive defense against both the notion that the president in any way, shape, form, or fashion mishandled classified information, and that he is losing speed mentally. What do you think of how this defense was launched?
I mean, they're absolutely in damage control, Terry. The question is, has the damage already been done? It is not fun for this White House to be talking on a second day about the president's age. This is the last thing they want to be talking about, but here they have to respond. It's one thing for a staff member, someone that works for this president, to defend him. It might work, but what is so hard right now is you have an outsider. You have a special counsel who wrote in black and white what he thought of the president, and that is what is so tough for these the members of the president's team to fight against and respond to. It's very interesting to me that the vice president was ready to respond in front of the cameras today on this issue. She also used that word, said this was gratuitous, inaccurate. She referenced being a former prosecutor and said that she just found this completely inappropriate from the special counsel. Like you said, they are all in on this. They are attacking the special counsel's conduct here, but I don't know if it'll be enough.
And let me go to the politics. Thank you, Mary Alice. Let's go to Rick Klein, the politics of this. So Rick, they're calling it gratuitous, and I actually just looked it up to make sure I had the absolute understanding. Gratuitous means done without reason. No reason to include these comments. That investigators who sat with the president for hours believed that he had slipped mentally, that his memory was poor as an elderly person. And Rick, it seemed that what the White House is doing is not directly attacking the special prosecutor, but saying that Republicans are so mean and so aggressive to prosecutors who don't do their bidding that this prosecutor apparently felt that he had to include something negative about President Biden. At least that's what I got from the White House counsel's office spokesman. He offered no evidence for it, but he just said the general negative Republican Party, Republicans attacking prosecutors who don't do what they like, that's why these comments were included. Do I have that right? Does that make sense?
I think it does, Terry. I think there's an inherent contradiction in what you're hearing from the White House right now, which is essentially believe the good parts of this report. Don't believe the bad parts. Believe the good parts in that there's no charges being filed, that they don't find like there's a reason to bring a case. But don't believe all of these descriptions about mental ability or Joe Biden's concerns around his age. And one of the problems with that is that they're actually connected. If you read the report, one of the reasons, rightly or wrongly, one of the reasons the special counsel says it's not going to prosecute is that they feel like a jury would probably not convict someone who presents themselves to be at the age and the geniality and the mental condition overall of Joe Biden. Now, obviously, Biden allies, including the White House, hate that. They hate that suggestion, and they are pushing back in the broad generalities of it, although we haven't seen specific evidence from transcripts to say that, yes, he was wrong to point out the inconsistencies in his memory. I think that's a little bit of a dance that's engaged here. I think the broader political problem, though, is bigger than any of that, which is that what this report does is confirm what people have already felt. They've already said. It has been in public opinion polling for a long time now that people are concerned about Joe Biden's age and mental acuity, and a little bit less concerned around Donald Trump's. And if this is the choice between the American people, as it appears very likely that it is, this is a debate that is now going to be happening very much out in the open. It's not going to be able to be relegated to the back corners or the whispers of cloakrooms. This has to be now litigated very publicly among Democrats, among Republicans and independents, because we are looking at this as the reality. There's no realistic chance that Joe Biden is not the Democratic nominee unless he were to decide to step away, and Donald Trump is likely to be the Republican nominee. And these polls that were out there predated by some time this report from the special counsel. And what this does essentially is underscore a big political weakness that a lot of Americans feel about him.
Great point there. Then we're looking at some of the polling numbers here. And Mary Alice, you've got a great perspective to help people understand this because you spent a lot of time covering the Biden White House and you've been out on the campaign trail and you like to talk to people, you like to talk to voters. Do the voters' concerns about Biden track with what you can observe as a reporter, personally, in your work at the White House?
Terry, there are strident Democrats who dismiss this outright. They say people have made fun of Biden for years. People have said he's too old for years. This is a guy who's made gaffes for years. Forget it, move on, I'm done. They're ready to go to bat for him. They like talking about his accomplishments. I was struck just last weekend. I was with a group of college Democrats, he's so young, who were defending him on this question of his age. They are Democrats. They want to vote for a Democrat. The question is everyone in the middle. The question is all those voters who aren't sure, who maybe aren't interested in voting again for former President Trump, but they are feeling a concern about this president. They take note when he stumbles. They're not sure about his recall. They notice those moments when he trails off in his sentences, where he confuses the name of a foreign leader. And they wonder, is that just something that everyone does in a moment? Is that something he's a little more prone to, or is it the sign of something different? And of course, yes, Terry, I talk to voters all the time in the middle who are not sure, and some who outright have just said they've seen enough. They worry he's too old.
And Rick, let me go to you on this. I'm old enough to remember when another president, in the middle of a presidential campaign, displayed signs of what many people took to be, age-related decline, not medical, just old. Ronald Reagan got lost in an answer at the first debate he had with Walter Mondale. He came back, he cracked a joke, everybody laughed and seemed to put that to bed, and then served a second term. And then a few years later was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I just wonder, and he was 69 when he left office. Biden's 81. And I wonder if there are any lessons to be drawn for the White House and for voters from Ronald Reagan. I mean, Ronald Reagan had a productive second term, no question about it. What do you think?
Yeah, look, and I think it's instructive to look at episodes like that to see how it was handled. And there's evidence that's come out in later years about people around Ronald Reagan that made things a little more comfortable for him and for the decision-making process. And the fact of the matter is the president's surrounded by a lot of people that can help ease the decision-making process and potentially protect him. I also think it's telling to me that there haven't been a lot of leaked anecdotes from either White House aides or staffers or Capitol Hill people that are involved in the direct interactions with this president on a regular basis that have gotten to the same kind of level that Robert Hur is talking about here. Clearly, there have been public stumbles that we've talked about. And I also think that this discussion around chronological age, I think, has to be a little bit separate than the discussion around mental acuity and ability. I mean, look, Terry, you were a year or two ahead of me at college. I was a year or two ahead of Mary Alice in college. I know our viewers think we're all about 25 years old, but bottom line is people age at different phases when it comes to mental ability. And yes, Donald Trump is only a few years younger than Joe Biden. A lot of this comes down to perceptions. Biden reads older right now by the way he moves, by the way he talks, and all of that is among the things that people can make a judgment about in an election. That is what is going to happen right here. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of whataboutism, and people will point to the other side, and that's all fair game for the discussion. But people are going to be considering based not just on the reality of what happened and what's in a special counsel's report, but on their feelings about what their comfort level is. And for whatever combination of factors, people were comfortable with a somewhat older Ronald Reagan in that second term. That will be a big question facing Joe Biden.
Absolutely. They are the decision makers. That's their office that they get to fill, and they will take into account whatever they can. And you just made my day, Rick. I think I'm more than a couple of years ahead of you. But thank you. I'll take it. You never know it. And Mary Alice Parks, thank you as always. Thanks very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.